I think with no further ado, we're going to bring up our keynote speaker, but I get to introduce this person who I know is doing real good work here in our community and making an impact that has no limit, as he said, to it. It's limitless, he told me. I look forward to more than just the book. I look forward to the motion picture. So hopefully there's a scene when I'm introducing him in the movie and I get to be in that. But let me tell you a little bit about Armand King of Paving Great Futures. He and his partner are doing some great work, and we engage with them on an ongoing basis, not only from a mentorship perspective, but they're just always up to good. They're always up to good. And so, Armand King, 37, is the co-founder of the aptly named nonprofit Paving Great Futures. Fueled by his experience in the streets, King serves as a shepherd to guide others out of the prison pipeline, criminal activity, and domestic human sex trafficking he knows all too well. He feels his mission in life is a path set out for him by God, with his only goal being saving lives from the many pitfalls that he has witnessed himself growing up in the underserved communities in San Diego. For many years, he was misguided by the streets and helped to misguide others, not realizing the detriment of his actions. Life for him is now filled with rewriting his past, but helping others pave a great future. Paving Great Futures empowers at-risk individuals with the necessary tools to pave a great future. They do this by providing alternatives for economic advancement through entrepreneurship, business development, and job training with the intent to create opportunity and financial sustainability. It says here you can be reached at www.pavinggreatfutures.org. Armand King.
I have two phones too. All right. Good morning. How's everybody doing? Can you hear me without the microphone? Because I move a lot. Everybody in the back? Okay. I heard somebody mention Thursday night football. Yes. Anybody here an NFL fan?
Yes.
All right, we got a few. Okay, you guys said great stuff. You kind of killed my speech, so I don't know what I'm going to really say now, but I'm grateful, though, because you said all the things I would want to say as a community member. So hearing that coming from the other side of the fence, that means a lot, and there's work being done. But, where'd the catch? Thank you. Take that. Thank you. Football, right?
Yes.
Who laughed? Disrespecting the set. All right, excuse me, that was in the wrong pocket for those of you that do know. I know you guys are in probation, so you probably know which pocket that was supposed to be in, right? Pulling out goodies. You hold that for me, Chief?
I don't want fingerprints on it.
Yeah, don't put any fingerprints on it. I need that. But football, soldier rag, gangster rag, whatever you want to call it, flag, baking soda. Pure baking soda. Props. Maybe props right now for this speech, but in reality, as a 12-year-old boy, those were the options of what I knew I could do with my life. NFL, NBA, gangbang, or sell drugs. Not that those were the only options, those are the only visible options that I knew at 12 years old. And that was a while ago. But at Paving Great Futures, we run two programs right now currently inside of middle schools. One's called Empire, one's called Snack Game. One of the middle schools, it's both high-risk schools. You know, the kids we're dealing with are on probation. And we started off interviewing each one of them individually. And we asked 20 kids that typical question, what do you want to be when you grow up? 16 of them said NBA or NFL, top of their list at 12. The rest were rappers, and I think one dude wanted to play guitar, which was super random. But that just showed me the difference between when I was a 12-year-old boy to now. The visible options had not changed. And quickly, from 12 years old to thinking about, the bulk of those people wanted to play sports, because that was their vision of what they could do to succeed and maybe make it out of the conditions that they were in. But fastly, like myself, when you realize you suck at sports, you're not growing anymore, and you're getting picked last every time for dodgeball. Maybe sports isn't for me. So my decisions and my choices just slimmed down to 2. I picked this up. Matter of fact, my mom found one in my room one day. Sent my older cousin in the room to go get on me. Go get him. Tell him about it, tell him about gang life. He came in the room, he closed the door behind him. He said, I'm glad you chose the right side. Now let me tell you how to do it right. That's what he told me, verification. Soon after, I didn't pick up dope, but my girl cousin somehow left a QP of weed in my backpack. I don't know how she did that. I found it when I got home. She put me on. So I've been selling weed since I was 12 years old. I stopped. I've been selling weed since I was 12 years old, for the record. Okay? But fastly, just grew up. I had about 15 years old. I'm going to speed through this. I know I don't have that much time, but I just want to give you a background on where I come from and who I am, so you know. I kind of represent maybe many of your clients. So I'm speaking on behalf of them from the other side of the fence. So maybe you probably heard these stories before, and worse. I'm sure you have. But sometimes, like hearing a good record, one time you hear it, you hear one thing, and the next time you hear it, you might hear something totally different and never realize, how'd I miss that? So 15 years old, fast forward, whole junior high school career, straight F's, straight D's, teachers passed me every semester. Get him out of here, he's going to jail. They knew where I was going. Never did a summer school, no tutorials, nothing. Get him out of here, and that guy that's over there, he was with me. We were the Goonies. We terrorized our school. By 15, it slowed down, and I realized, and a lot of people in San Diego realized, we start merging away from gang activity, and something else started emerging. We were players, we were cool, we were getting money from girls. Kind of like we were evolving into something, another option, other than because we saw drugs wasn't it. At this point, I was born in '81. So by the time I got old enough to where I could even try and attempt to sell crack cocaine, drug laws were really, really bad. I came from the crack generation of the parents before me, so we seen it tear up our communities. So we knew that wasn't it, but we still tampered with it a little bit because we thought maybe that was the option. Gang banging wasn't really it. Generation before me, death and jail constantly. That's not it. What am I gonna do now? I have out of options. Rapping, I suck too. Ended up getting into this new explosion of what's now called human sex trafficking, but when I was younger, it was just pimping and pandering, pimping and prostitution. At that point in time in my life, 65% of my friends merged into this lifestyle. Girls and guys. There was no force going on outside of the forces of just the time. We ran out of options, and that seemed like the logical option for us. We thought that was like, okay, we're not gonna get in trouble for this. Nobody cares about this. That we can get money. That was our way of achieving and getting that piece of the pie that we seen on TV, that we seen on Family Matters and all these television shows that have been flashed in front of our face our whole life. Those diamonds and the bling bling era. I came early on, it was the gangbang era in hip hop music. Then somehow everything merged into money and gold and big rims and 24-inch everything. So our mind was wrapped up in things and money. So we went after it. We hella went after it. I can't lie, it wasn't just for survival. Sometimes people say, I know you did what you did just so you can eat. I'm like, nah, I was trying to have a mansion. I wanted big, and there's nothing wrong with aspiring for more. We just didn't have the right mentors, guidance around us to teach us that the natural skills and the abilities and the mentality that we had applied correctly, we could do big things and we can actually prosper. All we knew what was inside that box in that community we grew up in. And I don't fault the youngsters, I don't fault the adults that grew up in that box. We try to get them to think outside that box, but how can you when that's all you knew? When your parents before you, that's what they knew, that's what they taught you. Like my big cousin, he came in. Yeah, confirmation, bro. Thank you for being from the set. Loser now, as I'm older looking. He's been in jail more than I've been alive. Not somebody to pattern your life after. Perfect. Water for me. Damn. Not wasted. So yeah, fastly went into pimping and prostitution. Most of my friends, homegirls, everybody, 15 years old, developed my crew, 7 of us. We broke away from gangs. A lot of people in San Diego broke away from the main gangs, created many cliques. There's over 100 cliques in San Diego. Nobody really noticed what was going on in urban culture. I didn't even notice. It was just what we were doing at the time. I'm 16 years old. Quickly from 16, at 16 going into pimping, those 7 friends, they started dying. The first one died, he was 16 years old. His name was Lawrence Smith. He was murdered. He was kind of crossed between hanging out with us and still going into gang life, because it is attractive, no matter if you have a 2-parent home or whatever. The streets are hella appealing, I wish they weren't. And he went that route. Get that phone call, first dead body I've ever seen. First time person in the casket, I had to kiss his cold body, his forehead hard. That memory will always be in my head. And now looking back at that, I think about me and my friends going and witnessing Lawrence going through his funeral and realizing after that, no one ever came to us and said, how do you feel? Are you okay? That was our best friend. Are you hurting? No counseling, no therapy like most people in the inner cities. It's non-existent. We don't even believe in that word. But much needed. From there, I had 7 friends. That was Lawrence. Later on, I went to prison. I went to the feds, not for pimping, but for selling large amounts of marijuana. Did that for quite some time. I was very successful. I know at one period of time I made $250,000 in 6 months. I was very intelligent, just guided wrong. And once again, my uncle showed me how to do that. How to send that, pack it, flip it, get it out of state. So I did that, got caught up. You know, it's only a matter of time. No matter what illegal activity you do, you're gonna get your door knocked on at some point in time. Armand King, can you put your hands on your car right there? Inevitable. In that time, I got extradited to Florida. Florida is where my case was out of. I came from San Diego. So the travel from here to Florida took 8 months. I stopped at federal facilities, county facilities, holdovers, you name it. It was 9 different institutions from here to there, which I now know was a reason. Why all these different institutions? I didn't think about it at the time, this was just a journey. God wanted me to see all the different setups, all the different people, the different regions, and people operate different in different prisons in different states. The mentality, the politics behind it, but I had to learn that for work I was gonna do later. 2 months before I got out of prison, walking around the yard, chaplain calls over the speakerphone or intercom, whatever it's called, and calls me into his office. I go into his office, he looks at me, hella cold. Armand, call your mom, your brother died. What you mean my brother died? Yeah, right. Call your mom. So I call my mom, she's just boo-hooing, crying, hysterical, and she's like, Armand, Richard's dead. Probably the most fatal blow of my life right there. My brother, younger than me, was more of a father than me. Out of my 7 friends, none of us had fathers. I barely had one around, but he took that role as a youngster. For whatever reason, he was brought into my life to train me how to be a man, a friend, a good human being. He was murdered by 4 kids, 14, 15, 17, and 19. They were on a shooting spree from San Diego to LA, shot 12 people randomly, killed 2 people that day, a 16-year-old boy and my brother, 21. So that was kind of the beginning of me, hold up, let's look at this life then. I've lost many associates, many friends, not my closest friends, and then my brother. So that one hit home. When I got out of jail, I started doing right. I'm getting older, and I was put in good positions, but as positions got shaky, I reverted back to old ways and how I knew how to get money, and I would get back in the pimp game, do that off and on. working jobs. For that period of my life, it was like 1 foot in the streets, 1 foot out. I would do what I knew what to do, how to do to work on future goals, to be better, to businesses, staff agencies. I had all these ideas that were just coming naturally. But I only knew how to get money this way. I had 2 options. I didn't know what to bring to represent Pimpin', but okay. So, yeah, so during that period, it was just in and out. It took me, my mom says that a man doesn't truly become a man till he's in his 30s. 33 is her year. She says 33, that's the Jesus year. I guess that's when Jesus passed. He was 33 years old. And something about that 33-year-old age. And I bear witness that at that point in time in my life, that's when something clicked in me. You know, before that, we hear things, mom, dad, preacher, teacher, probation officer. They say things to you to maybe get you on the right track, and you feel it and you're planting seeds. And it's really not going in one ear and out the other. It's staying in some little hidden dark box back here. And until that day comes and it wakes up, you don't realize somebody was trying to help you this whole time. But something about us men, women mature way faster. So you guys, it comes quicker, that's true. So all these things came forward to me, and what really brought me into what I'm doing now is realizing that I had minions of young dudes that were following in my footsteps, in my crew's footsteps. We didn't acknowledge them when they were kids. They were 10 years old. They were the neighborhood kids. They were the girls' sons or girls' brothers or whoever that we were dating at the time or who was around us. But they were taking notes on our life even though we were paying them no attention. Why would I? He's 10, I'm 16. But those guys had grew up. Those guys were now living what I had shown them as an example. I was their teacher. I was the big homie in the neighborhood that they were looking up to and now doing exactly what I was doing. So even though I didn't know I was teaching them, I was teaching them. And they had no other teacher. I was the mentor. We were the mentors. So at one point in time, my little 7 clique grew into a large amount of people, youngsters. I didn't know they existed until they were brought to my attention, sat them down in front of me, and they looked like a room full of thugs. Like I'm looking at y'all, you don't look like thugs, but look like a room full of thugs. And they're staring at me, and I kind of realized right then, like, what the hell? This is where that cycle changes around. Now I could easily go give them bags of baking powder, baking soda. I could give them baking soda and send them on a mission and have them all, we can make money. I could do that, but you know where I'm gonna end up, in one of your offices, eventually, after doing a 10, 15-year bid for a leadership role. They'll all end up in jail and then in your offices. That's where they'll be. So I'm like, nah, this is where that same mentality that led to those kids following my footsteps, if we change that now for them and be the homies that did, my older homies taught me how to gangbang, sell drugs, and pimp. That's what I did. Hip hop taught me the same things and instilled that in me. That's what we did. How do we change that using the same energy, the same concepts that we had when we were in the gang life, in the pimp life, and change that for this next generation so we can start reversing that cycle of death and incarceration? So at that point in time, start going after key individuals I knew from different communities because it was going to take more than me to make this and pull this off. And I went after people that I already knew had respect in their hood. One of them sitting over there, my co-founder. And I brought these people together, we came together and we created what's called Paving Great Futures. Paving Great Futures in its essence is being the new cool, the new big homie to those in the community. It's taking what we knew was missing from our life and now fulfilling that. And we've done great works, have several programs that all are instilled with 6 core competencies: entrepreneur training, job readiness, community service, civic engagement, financial literacy. I said 6, I'm forgetting one, forgive me. Life skills, because you gotta have them. Financial literacy was probably the most important because I realized most of the stuff I was getting in trouble for and the people I knew was getting in trouble for was just going after money. We wanted to eat. We wanted to see that stuff that we've seen on TV, like I said, in reality. So with Paving Great Futures and seeing the work that we were doing, we came to realize, once you enter into this field, you realize that there's much more than you can do by yourself. And that's when we realized collaboration is key. We can't do this by ourselves. We must deal with system. We must deal with probation. We must deal with the district attorney's office. We must deal with SDPD. So we had to develop these relationships, and they started happening. Luckily, we've never been turned down by anybody. They've been completely open to us every step of the way. We asked for a meeting, we get it. I just met with DA Summer Stephens the other day. How did I get that meeting? Do you remember? Yeah. Twitter. Twitter. And she doesn't realize it, but that meant a lot to me. I emailed first and her assistant emailed me back. I'm like, no. I don't want you. I need to meet with Summer. That's my friend. Let me shoot her a DM real quick. I shot our DA a DM, right? All in her inbox. And she responded a week later, you know? But she got back to me. And we set this meeting up. Private, nobody else needs to be there. We needed to talk. I need to update her on where we're at. She needs to update us on where we're at. Collaboration is the key. And then not just collaboration with system, but collaboration with other organizations, other people that are doing similar work, if not the same work, because I'm not a therapist. I know street stuff, but we need people that deal with emotional literacy. So it's other organizations, Youth Empowerment, Project Aware, other organizations out here. There's a bunch in our community, and oftentimes they're overlooked by, you got the big five that hang over that pretty much get all the dough, and then you got the people that are on the grassroots that barely get the money, but they got the heart and the passion, and they put in the work until they're burnt out eventually, because this is a hard job we're in. Same as you guys, I know you guys get burnt out. I can only imagine. I'm dealing with people that are on probation, and I'm like, dude, just don't smoke. Don't smoke. Can't wait. I'm not anti-marijuana, but wait the 3 years and then smoke your brains out. I don't care. But get off paperwork, or you're just gonna keep going back. But that's them seeds. I'm just planning it. But then I look back, like most people I deal with, they're in their early 20s, and I'm like, I was 22 years old on probation when my probation officer, Peter Nova, walked into my house full of smoke. He just walked in randomly. Like, what am I going? I can't lie. I mean, literally, I hotboxed my living room. It was filled with smoke. He had to get contacted. I feel sorry for him. I hope he didn't have to pee that day. But he came out of my house and he just called me outside. It was too much. He goes, Armand, come on. So I go outside with him, I'm on the front porch, and he just looks at me. He could have put me in cuffs right then, but he saw something in me. And he looked at me and said, Armand, what are you doing? Smoking. So he didn't lock me up then, but he just like, hey, get back on your mission. Because I had been feeding him this mission like a lot of people feed you. I'm going to do this. They got this whole list, even though they half-ass doing it. But he's like, get on your mission. And I thank God for him in my life. He was a good probation officer. We have both. I deal with the other two. Also, I probably peed dirty another 2 more times. He still never locked me up, but could have every time. That's 3 violations right there. But he just seen something in me, and thank God, because maybe I would not be doing what I was doing now if I kept getting caught up on violations and doing other stuff. That would have been further setbacks. Now, there are times and places where people do need to go sit down. You know, some people really, really need it, because some people are out here killing themselves and don't realize it, and they need that. They don't have that parental figure, and sometimes you fulfill that too. You're more than a probation officer. That's just a title, okay? Sometimes you are that parent figure. Sometimes you are that mentor. Sometimes you are that big brother, big sister, and you got to care about them more than just being a client or just somebody on your list, a number. Sometimes you got to look at them like a human being. Like, how would you look at your own daughter right now, your own son right now? Okay? And you got to have that heart. And most of you, the majority of you, came into this job with the heart of that. And sometimes through the duration and getting headaches, I understand you want to give up sometimes on certain people or everybody. Constantly build yourself up. I have to do this myself. I barely listen to music when I'm in my car. I switch it when the homie get in. I'm here like I was listening to Mozzie or something all day. But I'm really listening to Eric Thomas, Tony Robbins, you know, Gary Vee. I'm listening to people that constantly build me. It's like working out. You know, you may not need those muscles right then. You might not need them. You might not have to tackle nobody down that's violating or whatever. But you work out so when that time comes, you're ready. The same with the mental and the spiritual working out. And I recommend to all of you continually work out your brain, your heart. Never stop learning. So you're ready, because this gets hard. I don't know if I can cuss, I almost slipped. But it gets hard. Okay? So collaboration is the key. One of the keys. Working together. So reach out. I don't know where you guys are from, but I'm sure there's people with them hearts in your communities. Reach out to them. How can you be a better service to them? And keep that heart of humanitarianism that you had when you started this job, and don't lose it. And if you feel it's gone, then do something else. Because we need your heart here. There's more than that life that's in there's more than that life that you're dealing with. There's more than that life. Because I just recently was in there with, I would say, is a not so good probation officer in the federal system not too long ago. And I'm looking at the life that she's affecting, which was a minimal offense. He could have been home. And I'm looking at his baby right here that he's been a father to. He's going to school, he's on the dean's list, went through 2 of our programs. Really good dude. He didn't need to go to jail for having a phone he wasn't supposed to have. Little things. Choose your, what they say, choose your war, choose your battle. Okay? His 2-year-old son needed him home. Okay? Choose your battle. Never stop learning. We have a community, my dude over here, he's holding this flyer up, so I'm going to go ahead and speak on it right now. We have a Community Mentor Summit, the end of September coming up, which is in essence teaching what we do here in the community of San Diego in alignment with systems and how we partner together and how it works. There will be trainings, speeches, a lot of good stuff coming, probably missing some stuff, they're going to get mad at me later, but that's what it is. I just say, man, never stop learning, continue to build, continue to grow, think outside the box, and if you're getting complacent with your job and what you're doing, realize you're more so affecting lives than I am. They can just not come to my program. They can't not come to your program. The consequences, I just gotta leave them alone. You have to deal with them. So you are way more crucial in their life than I am, and the people you're dealing with. So connect with people like me that maybe reach them on another angle, because we're in the job to what? I heard it like 3 times. Save lives. We're here to save lives. If you don't believe you're here to save lives, like I said, honestly, I was sitting there thinking, I'm like, if I was in probation, if I was in law enforcement, my job, your goal should be to put yourself out of work. You don't want to be a probation officer anymore. You want them to change that title, maybe evolve into something else. What does that mean by putting yourself out of work? That means there's nobody going through the system anymore. That should always be your goal. You want this job because you're doing it to help save lives, but you don't want this job. I'm trying to work my way out of work. Can you imagine a world where you didn't have anybody going through the jail system? That would be amazing. That would be amazing. Somebody recently asked me, or they brought it up to somebody I knew, came to some colleague of mine at the university and asked, and told her, do you know Armand King? He still deals with pimps and prostitutes. He deals with gang members. And they told him, yeah, I know that. And asked me why I do that. Who am I supposed to deal with? And I said, WWJD. Anybody know what that means? It was an old saying.
What would Jesus do?
Say it again?
What would Jesus do?
What would Jesus do? I mean, I'm not big on religion or anything like that, but I recall somewhere in the Bible, that's who he was hanging out with, the thugs. And so you guys kind of got the job of Jesus a little bit, because I think that's who you hang out with too, right? What would he do? So keep hanging out with him. Be a good person. Save lives. Put yourself out of work as you continue this program throughout the rest of the day. Keep that in your head. I'm working to put myself out of work. And how are you going to do that? By continuing to learn. By collaborating with people in your cities, towns, wherever you're from, people that are also doing the work, because we are not in a Shiloh, we are a football team, okay? Back on the football. You know, a football team, there are several different positions, all of them important. You have the quarterback, wide receiver, you have the coach, you have the fans. All of these pieces are important. If you didn't have a cheerleader cheering you on, getting you going, encouraging you, you might not feel good. You didn't have a water boy keeping you hydrated. And then you have the players that are really on the field taking the hits, getting dirty. I consider myself somebody on the field getting dirty. And I do it in the suit too. But you guys are also on the field getting dirty. Some of you, depending on your position, but everybody understand your position, be self-aware of where you're best at, play that position so what? Ultimately, we can win the game. Okay? And that's our goal, is to win, right? We're not in this just to be in this. Hopefully not. There's several other. That's it. That's my time. You guys are great. Have fun. Enjoy this and keep working, okay?